Welcome back to another edition of the Pitch Putt and Puff podcast. My name is Roger, aka RGB. I appreciate everybody tuning in this evening. Before we get rolling, just got to give a quick shout out to a couple sponsors here. First and foremost, 420 Bliss, located at 740 Hoosick Road in Troy, New York, right up in the Walmart Plaza. Make sure you stop in there, check them out. Everything you're looking for: flowers, pre-rolls, edibles, vapes, disposables, tinctures, you name it, they got it. Make sure you stop in there, check them out. Tell them the Pitch Putt and Puff crew sent you. Also, got to check out Trouble Off the Tee, troubleoffthetea.com. You got a promo code RGB for 15% off site wide, as well as promo code PUFF for buy one, get one on the polos. That's a limited time offer, so make sure you take advantage of that. Also, check them out on Spotify. Check out the audiobook narrated by Jake Adams from Country Club Adjacent. It's a great listen. You can literally get it done 2 or 3 days. And definitely, when you get out of the car from listening to it, you kind of want to get back in and finish the chapter at least. So definitely check them out, troubleoffthetea.com. And then real quick, I got to give a shout out to my man Kai over at Tea Time Leather. My man hooked me up with a nice little joint paper holder here. Got the little flip up, and then also got the custom Pitch Putt and Puff engravement there. So shout out to Kai on that. That thing's dope. Definitely going to be put to use on the golf course this year. But to introduce my guest tonight, going back to the West Coast, I got the host of Los Golferos. I can't roll my R's that well, but we got Ralph in the house. What's up, man? How are you? Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, man, RGB, thanks for having me, man. I'm really excited. Like you said, I'm out here on the West Coast. You're out on the East Coast, so I just love that cross-country connection. So really excited. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, man, it's cool too because we were just talking before, and like our mindset of the podcast and everything's kind of the same, and just kind of networking and doing different things with it, and just looking to have fun with the guys, if anything. And it's kind of something you can just document your journey along the way.
Yeah.
But why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into golf?
Yeah, man, for sure. So born and raised out here in Southern California, San Diego, North County, San Diego. And yeah, man, for those of you that don't know, maybe on the East Coast, but San Diego is kind of the mecca of golf. I know maybe Florida wants to have that title or whatnot, but all of the major brands are out here. We have Titleist, we have TaylorMade. The Kingdom's like 15 minutes away from my house. Not that I've ever been there, been able to, tee it up at the Kingdom. But yeah, no, golf is very big in the community out here. Whether you play it, religiously or not, you're bound to interact with golf in one way or another. And so for me, I had a family friend that got me into golf when I was in middle school. Honestly, I thought it was a dumb sport at first, and I was like, I'm never going to play this. So I stopped. Yep. And then about 6 years ago, I had a work buddy, one of my best friends now, was like, hey, man, like, you ever played golf? And I was like, heck yeah, man, I've played it before. Like, kind of just like trying to fit in a little bit.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, come on, let's go grab a 6-pack and we're going to go hit the course. For those of you who don't know, San Diego, on top of being a golf city, it's also a beer city. We have like over 180 breweries here. So when we say we're picking up a 6-pack, we're probably picking up some IPAs, some lagers, stuff like that.
Right.
So let your imagination go with that on how that round went. We were pretty blacked out by the end of it all.
Yeah. Enjoying yourselves out there.
Yeah. So that in a nutshell is kind of where I'm from and how I got into golf and how I got back into the sport.
Yeah. For me, it was a little bit different. I was a football, baseball, basketball guy, and I played baseball my whole life, and I batted left-handed. So I had a couple of my really good friends in high school were on the golf team, and I didn't play a fall sport. So I didn't play football in high school, and I had nothing to do. So a couple of times I would go out golfing with these guys and borrow their righty clubs. So from transitioning to a lefty baseball swing to a righty golf swing is 2 completely different things. And it took, like, I would be out there with those guys, and like 3 or 4 holes in, I'd do the same thing. We'd be smoking and drinking, having a good time. And I'd be like, all right, I'm just going to drive the cart around because this is more fun than losing all my golf balls and just getting pissed off. So I just never stuck with it. And then when I got older and couldn't keep up with the 18, 19-year-old kids running up and down on a basketball court in my mid-30s, I started getting into it a lot more. And that's kind of how the whole thing came about, with playing a Sunday with the same guys, playing for a couple bucks, doing that kind of thing. And then just started having guests on and mixing it up, and then seeing what you can do with like networking with different people. It makes it a good, interesting, something to do. It's something to do and just document the journey, if anything else. So what got you to into the podcast portion of it?
Yeah, man. So kind of like I said, I got back into golf as an adult in my mid 20s. I'm 32 now.
Okay.
Um, and so really what it stems from, it's kind of, man, it's crazy now to think about it, long story. Um, it was like a few years back from college. I had left California to go to Arizona, go to school for a little bit, came back, was working, got back into golf, then COVID hits.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so when COVID hit, I'm stuck watching YouTube videos and stuff, to pass the free time because we can't go out anymore.
Yeah.
And I start seeing good, and I start seeing, Rick Shields, all these guys doing the golf social media thing. And I started thinking to myself, well, like, I'm a sociable guy. I like talking, hanging out with people. I'm getting back into golf. Why don't I do that?
Yep.
I don't see guys of my skin tone out there doing this. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
there's an audience for me. So flip side of that, my cousins who are up in the LA area, they got a golf club together and they called it Los Golferos. And their side of the story is that um, they ran into somebody who was doing sarape golf towels. So for those of you who don't know, sarape is that colorful Mexican blanket material that you see.
Yep.
Um, and so he was basically grabbing one, popping a grommet in it, and selling them to people. And they were kind of falling apart. So my cousin has a friend, Hector, who is what we call like a mad scientist because he
Mm-hmm.
finds a project, he falls in love with it, and he just wants to start like tinkering, tailoring. So he's like, bro, I can do this, but better. And so long story short, he ends up coming out with a prototype of what we have now as our sarape golf towel. Started using different pleathers and things like that just to give him a little bit more of a uniqueness. So they kind of got the ball rolling on that. So I end up going up to LA for a round of golf, and I'm like, hey man, like I'm thinking about doing like the social media thing. I see guys doing it. Well, he's like, bro, he's like, you went to school for a business degree, you got a business mind, grew up in a family business, and you have the personality to do social media. He's like, why don't you just do the marketing and stuff for Los Golferos? So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
cool, I'm sold. So yeah, started doing that. Kind of put a little bit of the social media kind of in the back just because we were more focused on Instagram, a lot more pictures, things like that. But I tend to do this thing where I do a lot of stories.
Yep.
A lot of people are doing reels and things like that, but we're trying to build a community with the brand.
Mm-hmm.
So the only way to do that is talking to the people. So I do a lot of stories. I'm asking questions, giving people updates about golf courses that we're at, things like that. Um, and then fast forward, we meet Tacos at the Turn, Nelson, who was recently on
Yep.
your podcast.
Yep.
Um, he gets into
That's actually how I found out about you guys by following him, just the networking portion of it. Yep.
exactly, and that's the beauty of it all, right? You start
Yeah.
developing a community, you start networking. And he got us onto another podcast, and he was just like, "Hey, these are my buddies, Los Golferos." Um, Next thing you know, we're on the Safe Par podcast. Shout out Safe Par.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of checked off that box. I always wanted to be on a podcast. Like I said, I wanted to start getting into that space. Um, and I was like, dude, I got the itch again. This is about last year. And I told my cousin, I was like, hey, look, we've developed a big enough following. We've networked with quite a few people from different aspects of life. And, I was like, I think we could put a podcast together and really have like content that people want to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's like, dude, you run it. Like you've been the marketing guy that's helped to get the following that we have. You put in all the legwork. He's like, so if you want to do a podcast, we're right behind you. Let's go ahead and do it. So yeah, went ahead and started doing my research on what I needed to do to start a podcast with my business partners, supporting in the background. And so yeah, this past February we kicked off Salud Golferos. It's named after somewhat of the slogan that we created on our stories, in the Mexican culture, or you can say in the Latin culture, when we cheers, instead of saying cheers, we say salud. So
Yep.
I always did my stories that way. When we signed off, I was like, salud, golferos. And
Yeah. Yeah.
long story short, that's how the
That's
podcast came
it.
to be.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like it's one thing too, like people don't realize, but a lot of work goes into like organizing a podcast and scheduling and like making sure you got, what your plan is. Like if you want to drop one a week, two a week, once every 2 weeks, whatever your game plan is, you got to make sure you have everything lined up, all your ducks in a row to be
Mm-hmm.
able to produce that. Otherwise, you're not going to have that consistent follower. And you have to be consistent. That's the biggest thing. You have to be consistent while you're doing this. Otherwise, it's going to fall apart real quick.
Oh, definitely, bro. Definitely. I learned that very quickly. Like I definitely understood that coming with like the social media space. Like you got to be constantly producing or at least being consistent with things. So yeah, when we started doing the podcast of it all, I was like, oh shoot, this is even more work. But
Yeah,
it's definitely worth it because, like you said, the networking. This is what brought us together, and
yeah.
so how we're here on your podcast now. But yeah, how'd you guys start? Or how'd you start? Sorry, I should say.
So I have a co-host with me most of the time, my buddy Jr. He's doing some hockey tournament right now, so
Oh,
he's
nice.
unavailable. But I honestly, so I always wanted to do a podcast. I didn't know if I was gonna go with like the golf portion of it, just sports in general, conspiracy. I'm a big conspiracy guy, so maybe go that route. Like I didn't know what I was gonna do, but I wanted to do something I was gonna like enjoy doing.
Right.
And we play golf. It's the eight, like I said earlier, it's the 8 guys every Sunday. And
Hmm.
what the way we do it is we play our round. We come back. Everybody picks. I bring a deck of cards. Everybody picks a card. So whoever has the ace, the pair of aces, that's a team. Whoever has the kings, that's a team. Lowest score out of that wins.
Hmm.
So, and it's the same characters, like you were saying earlier. You got guys that are on the golf course cracking jokes, having a good time, and that's what we were doing every week. So I was
Hmm.
like, it was like one Friday or Saturday morning. I was just in my garage hanging out, doing a couple things, and I just said, you know what, I'm gonna record into my phone, just 15 minutes talking about these guys. So I did, and I was just cracking jokes and talking about their golf game, and I brought my speaker. I had my little speaker on the course, and I just played it, and it took a couple minutes, but one of the guys heard their names, and they're
Yeah.
like, "What is this?" I'm like, "I did a podcast about us." So they all kind of like, they're like, "Raj, it's not that bad." Um, my one buddy hopped on and started co-hosting, so I would just go, and it was just like once a week we do a recap, and then the next, on like a Thursday or Friday, we would drop one about the week ahead and put the rosters out. But then I had nothing to talk about here in upstate New York because the golf was over.
Hmm.
So I was like, all right, what am I going to do now? It's November, December. I'm running out of things to do. And I wasn't really having guests on or doing anything like that. So I had to decide if I was really going to take it serious or not and try to pursue something with it because I was starting to gain a slow following, but then it stopped because I had no content to put out.
Right.
But once I started like January, really pumping out, like getting involved, networking, getting guests out, being consistent, like putting 2 or 3 episodes out a week, um, that's when I started picking up little by little some followers. Then I got hit up by the Golfer Gang Network. Um, have some other sponsorships I'm involved in. So it's a slow roll, but it's working for me so far. And it was really just for something fun to do. And then like if anything, it just documents like our journey of golfing. Like because I'll tell you, I was shooting in the 120s 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I've been keeping it in the 80s pretty much all year so far this year. So it's a long stretch. I've came lefty to righty and everything else too. So
That's
just
awesome, bro. Congrats.
yeah, man, it's just to document it all. But yeah, it was really
Yeah.
just to do something in the wintertime. Have something to do in the winter was the main focus, really.
Yeah.
'Cause there's nothing to do up here, man. Nothing.
Oh man. Like I said, I left California for 5 years to go out to school. I was coming back and forth because it's college. You
Yeah.
go out for the year, you come back, but obviously three quarters of the year you're out in a different state. And people, when I tell people I went out to Arizona, they're like, "Oh, it was probably hot as hell." And I'm like, "No, man, I was in northern Arizona, up in the woods, in the mountains." So,
Okay.
bro, I remember my freshman year. I'm a Cali kid, bro. I'm totally Cali kid where I
Yeah.
was like in jeans and Vans and a hoodie, and it was 14 degrees, snowing, and I'm walking from South Campus to North Campus, which is about half a mile. Walking to my next class, and I just remember the slush. My Vans were drenched, and I was just like, "What is this? I hate this!" Like,
Yep. Man.
so
Well,
I
I
feel you,
understand
bro.
that completely, man. I understand that completely. That's like we played golf in that this year. I got out. We played because those here's the winter this year here wasn't too bad. We didn't get a lot of snow,
That's what
and
I was hearing. Yeah.
it was kind of hanging in like the 30s. Like it wasn't getting too cold even. So like even like the mid 40s. There was a couple times. And then we pop a day in the 50s. So there's one golf course up here that stays open all year round.
Hmm.
And we would go play. Like the one day it was pretty good because it was frozen, so it wasn't as slushy. But once it started thawing out, it was balls were plugging. It wasn't really enjoyable. That one round was not enjoyable. When you're
Yeah.
trapped in the house so long, you don't care. You don't
Yeah.
care.
You just want to get out there. You're like, whatever the conditions are, at least I'm hitting the ball again.
That's it. That's it. And like my schedule, luckily I get in going to work at like 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, so I get out around noon
Yeah.
and I have a 6 year old daughter. I don't have to get her off the bus till like 4 o'clock. So I go play 15, 16 holes and then take off. But every day I'm out there swinging the club pretty much except Saturdays. Saturday, she's got the softball, the t-ball games and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm taking care of all that stuff on a Saturday.
Hey man,
Um,
that's how you do it. Work life balance, right?
that's it. That's it. I got to fit it all in. I still come home, get the lawn mowed, keep the wife happy, do all that stuff. So that's the most important shit.
That's what's up, bro. Yeah,
What
no, the
Go ahead.
oh,
Sorry.
I was just gonna say, no, I feel it because I'm like I said, I have business partners and all this, and luckily they're my family. So it's easy for me to communicate with them. But normally I would try to get all the guys on here. So we have Hector, we have Raul, we have Sergio, and we have Louis.
Yep.
But most of them are dads, and they have softball, baseball. Raul's at a baseball game right now for his son. So I hear you, man, and I respect it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you hopping on, especially because I mean, like I said, the 6 o'clock, it's 6 o'clock there, 9 o'clock here, kind of thing. So the three
Yeah.
hour time change. So I'm glad we could work something out for sure.
Heck yeah.
Um, so with your guys' brand, you sell the towels. Do you have anything else that you guys sell on the website?
Yeah. So Serape golf towels are probably our biggest thing, day one product. But then also too, we do hats. So we have these nice hats here with our rotor patches. We have leather patch hats.
Okay.
We do some shirts. Mine's all dirty. Otherwise, I would have wore it. I wear that thing out. I think it's got some holes in it now.
Nice.
But then we also have the big drop this year was the performance hoodies. So we just kept hearing people saying like, dude, we love your logo, stuff like that. Like I'll probably try to zoom this in a little bit, but
Yep.
so like
Oh, there you go. Yep. Nice.
yeah. So yeah, we have the Aztec warrior or the Guerrero as we like to call it. And so yeah, it was just a logo that everybody really liked. And so yeah, we try to throw it on as much as we can on the different things.
Yep. That's the way to do it. Just keep mixing it up and see what goes, and then ride out with it, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yep. See what sticks. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do
exactly.
it. So I like to close out the podcast. I usually do like these 3 questions. Um, Mostly golf. It's all golf related. But what's your favorite club in your bag?
Ooh, favorite club in the bag. Depends on where my game's at, really. But right now, it's the wedges. I got a buddy over at Callaway that just put me into some new Jaws wedges. So my
Okay.
60 and 56, they've been coming in clutch lately. Years past, I probably would have told you my 7-iron, probably would have told you my pitching wedge, but right now, it's definitely the wedges, man.
Dude, I just had one of those. I just got rid of it because I got a new set of clubs. But the Jaws, what did I have? The 52. I
Oh
love
yeah,
that thing. That thing it's such a nice club. I actually got some, like, I could spin the ball a little bit with it.
nice.
I really like that club. I'm kind of upset I got rid of it. I just said to the buddy I gave it to, I said, yo, I might be taking that back. I'll swap one out with you, but I might be taking that one back. I really did like that club.
Heck yeah. What was the yardage that you would play that for?
I could hit that like 115, 120 consistently
Okay.
if I had to, but I mostly used it around the greens for like chipping purposes.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know what happened. Like literally last year, my yardage changed drastically on all my clubs. I was striking the ball better. Like my 7-iron used to be my 150 club. Now I'm hitting
Mhm.
at like 175,
Heck
180.
yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. I literally said to my buddy, my co-host JR, he's like, dude, you're getting some distance on me. But I just showed up, man. Like I'm doing nothing different. I'm doing something different, but I just don't feel like I'm doing anything different, kind of thing. So,
I'm jealous, man. I had the opposite effect this year. I don't know what happened. So my 6 iron, I used to blast that thing like probably like 190 carry, but it would roll out to 220.
yep.
And so I used to play that on par fours. I would
Okay.
never pull out the driver, just blast the 6 iron, leave me like a pitching wedge in, probably in most cases. And then this year, oh man, I don't know what happened, but like I can now blast the driver some days, but the 6 iron is now probably like my 170 club, maybe one like 160. I don't know what
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah,
Golf
it's
is
great.
weird like that, bro.
It is. And like, if people like, I got one buddy I work with. He's just starting. The kid I sold my old clubs to.
Yeah.
He's just starting out, and he's like a nervous wreck. He's like, dude, I don't want to go play any course. I'm like, that's fine, dude. We'll go to like a par three or like a wide open par four midday when no one's gonna be there. Bring
Yeah.
a bucket of balls, and you can just figure it out. And his one buddy's like getting him real frustrated because he's like trying to teach him things, but this kid doesn't know what he's doing. He's
Yeah.
like, I'm just waiting for Raj, man. Raj is gonna show me. So I'm gonna take this kid out and like slowly try to build him like one of my buddies did with me, just to build the confidence in somebody.
Mhm.
And he sees though, because I was chipping in my yard one day. He stopped over and I was showing him like different things, how to get the ball in the air, how to hit a bump and run. And he's sitting there, and I was pretty much on point with what I was trying to show him at the time. It was probably 90% luck that I was doing that, but he started to see it, and I had him try it, and he started figuring out how to pop it up in the air. And I'm like, just like, I'm no Tiger Woods, but I can show you a couple little things that will eventually you'll figure out on your own, or you can go get real lessons and realize the struggle of the game too, because you might hit the ball at the tee great one day and show up the next day and not be able to hit the ball more than 50 yards. Sometimes you're just snap hooking or
Yeah.
slicing. The struggles of golf, man. It's like golf and life are so much alike, man.
Oh, bro, so true. So true.
Every day is different. Every
Yup.
day is different for sure. My second question for you is, what's the being out there, especially California? What's your favorite course you've ever played?
Oh man, that's a great question. Favorite um I'm gonna say it's a tie between two. So one up in LA is gonna be Rustic Canyon. Rustic
Okay.
Canyon is beautiful because it's a link style golf course and you're away from everything. You're tucked into the hills of Simi Valley. Um, and it's just so peaceful, so quiet, and it's like you just go out there with the boys and you play. The other one is out in Palm Springs. I may get the name wrong. It's been a while since I played it. I believe it was Indian Wells. Um, just another beautiful, beautiful course. Palm Springs is a great area to go play golf in.
Mm-hmm.
So highly recommend those two. Those are probably my top two right now.
Yeah, I've played one down in Texas, and I think primarily it was a PGA course. It was Slick Rock down, just probably an hour and a half outside of Austin.
Okay.
Um, we went down there for a wedding. We went out played a scramble, just the boys, and I mean, just the way they manicured the course, the greens, the way they were taken care of. Like you felt like you knew what it was like to watch the guys on TV playing a course like that. Just the way they kept it compared to some of the courses up here in the Northeast, but. I got to
Yeah.
shout out my local course, Freer Park. They recently, in the past 3 years, they just put a bunch of money into it, and like every other course around here, we've had a lot of rain lately, so they're soaked. There's not a single puddle on this course. There's no like soak spots where 4 years
Mhm.
ago we wouldn't be playing golf right now. It would be shut down. It'd be so wet, puddles, and
Oh man.
it was a mess. But the city did right and put a lot of money into it, and they're seeing the rewards because it's almost, I don't know about if you have the issue out there, but with the tee times, but it's getting tough to get a tee time sometimes. You guys got that same issue up where you are?
Yeah, so San Diego has been just because of the influx of golfers. There's just a lot more golfers out there,
Yep,
but
same.
there's this whole thing going on in LA right now.
Yeah,
I don't know if you follow Dave Fink on social media, but he just did this whole thing of free the tea time.
yep.
Um, yeah, man. Supposedly there was like brokers and bots being used to like take up tea times and flipping them. So yeah, trying to golf in LA for the past couple of years has been
It's crazy
mad
because I
crazy.
seen something where like it was like seniors who had the rights to it early, so they were having like their kids or whatever or grandkids were having them buy all the tea times up, and then they were taking them and then selling them. I mean,
Mhm.
the city, if anything, should jump in and try to regulate it somehow to only allow one spot per person or whatever. But yeah, that's crazy. I couldn't imagine not being able to go and just pop out and get a tee time. Like
Yeah.
that'd be crazy because there's like 10 courses around me where I could call and within an hour or two have a tee time if I wanted to. It
Oh
might not
yeah.
be the nicest course in the world, but I'd be able to get a tee time.
Yeah. You get out there. No,
You
that's
get,
true.
right. Even if I go a small par four, just like quick 9 holes, um, just like a 9 hole course. Even
Hmm.
I can't do a par three. My one buddy wants to go play a par three. Every time I go play a par three, when I come back to a normal course, I struggle so bad. I don't know what it is. I've done it 3 times, and it takes me like 2 weeks to get back to like my normal game. I have no.
The secret to par threes is don't use tees. Just treat it like approach practice. Just another day at the range. You just like I'll go. I go to this one right here. It's called Rancho Carlsbad. It's a
Hmm.
par three course, super short. I think the longest hole is like 160.
Okay.
I don't use any tees. I just put myself like, okay, I just hit a great drive, and now let's not fuck it up. Let's go put the ball on the green.
Right.
And my handicap actually dropped because of that, because I started doing that.
That's
So
I think the last time I did tee it up, and now I actually on a lot of par threes I don't even tee it up anymore with my irons. I play it as off the ground just because that's how I would hit it anyway. So
yeah,
I feel in my head like if I'm striking it different if I have it teed up. So
yeah.
I started doing that, and it's actually made a big difference because when I was teeing it up, I used to shank a lot left. Now everything's
Okay.
starting to straighten out for me. So I just started doing that at the end of last year, and it's made a big difference so far.
There you go.
And then the final question is, what's one thing you'd want to improve on this year in your golf game? I know your season's a little bit different than mine, but
Yeah. Just getting back to consistent golf swings with my irons. Started working with a buddy. He was actually trying to get onto the PGA Tour for a while. So he knows a few things about swinging a golf club. So I've been working with him for the past month or so. So just
nice.
getting consistent and getting compression back to blast that 6 iron like I used to.
Yeah, man, it's crazy too because how much different a swing with the driver is compared to the swings with the irons.
Yeah.
I think that's like a lot of my struggles because I'm trying to compress my driver. I think too much, and I'm snapping everything. So I have my same thing. I have my cousin's husband. He was trying to get on the tour a few years back, and he's coming into town this week. He's out in Connecticut, and I'm hoping to pop out on a Saturday afternoon for a quick 9 to get a few tips before my Sunday money round. Would be nice.
Yeah. There you go.
It'd be nice. So, Ralph, I really appreciate your time, man. Where can everybody find you?
Yeah, man. We're now on YouTube. So Los
Nice.
Golferos on YouTube. Check us out on Instagram, Los_Golferos. I started TikTok. I'm too old for TikTok, but we started one, so we got one on
So
there too.
I have that struggle so bad right now because everybody's telling me to do it. My one buddy, JR, wants me to do it. I'm like, yo, you can run the TikTok account, man. I'll take care of everything else. You run the TikTok account if you want to start the TikTok. I just don't have time for it. I'm 40 years old, bro. I can't do TikTok. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Totally get it.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you, man. And then yeah, we have our website. So just look up Los Golferos, so LOS and then GOLFEROS. You'll find our website where we got all our merch.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, when do you guys usually drop your podcast?
So right now we're doing weekly every Friday. So we'll have a new episode coming out this Friday. It's gonna be me and the guys just catching up. Like I said, they're up in LA. I'm down in
Mm-hmm.
San Diego. But yeah, outside of that, we have 9 other episodes out already, just highlighting some of the brands and some of the cool people that we've met, just networking and going on this journey. So yeah, please tune in.
Awesome.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
have a lot of fun.
some of the best episodes are just with the guys chopping it up too, man. Just the most enjoyable ones for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome, man. Hey, I really appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on. We'll definitely link up soon. I plan on coming out to the West Coast in like October once my weather starts to get a little colder out there. I want to make a trip out that way.
Yeah, man.
Probably more closer to the LA area. Link up with the Legends Golf Club out there. But love for you to make the trip down. I'm hoping to catch it on like a tournament weekend for them. So make it
Yeah.
work out for everybody. Be pretty dope. Once again, thank you for your time, man. Make sure everybody goes and checks out 420 Bliss, located at 740 Hoosick Road in Troy, as well as TroubleOffTheTee.com. Promo code RGB for 15% off site wide. as well as promo code PUFF for a limited time on the buy one, get one free on the polos. Take it easy, everybody. Appreciate you tuning in.